of team cohesion breaks down because you're now paying twice for something potentially. It means that you more than likely have a breakdown in how you're managing things. And you may have to look at what is the best system that works for my team. So let's say you have this discovery call, right? And maybe it wasn't the best of fit. Are you just letting it go? Just because it's not a good fit now doesn't mean it might not be a good fit later. Welcome back, Bold Move Besties, to another episode of She Built Success. I am your host, Claudia. Let's get on into it. All right, so today I want to talk about broken systems. And this is for my entrepreneur friends and my small business owners. We're going to go all the way in on this one, so hang tight. There are 4 ways that you know you have broken systems in your business. The first one, because we're jumping right in, is a lack of team cohesion. This looks like team members doing duplicate efforts. This looks like being asked the same thing by the different team members, but over and over and over again. That means that you don't have a system in place where your team members not only can talk. So yes, there's email and there's instant messages and things like that, but like a way to know who's doing what, whether that's via a project plan, that's through a task tracking system or mechanism. So a lack of team cohesion breaks down because you're now almost paying twice for something potentially. So let's say you have a few graphics people on your team, right? If you have one person working on asset A and the other person's supposed to be working on asset B, but there's no resource assigned to that asset, then B can go work on A's asset. I hope that makes sense. And so then now you're double paying for the same asset. So a way to track your team, so team management. I could say for us, we have not only tasks, but we also have resource loading of the different assets that need to be created. That is like, who is the graphics person? Who is the copy person? Who is the person that's actually going to publish it or schedule it to be published? Like those 3 lanes is how, at least from a content standpoint, we're able to delineate who's doing what, when, where things are in pipeline. So that's like flagging things for review, flagging things for edit, things that are in progress, things that are completely done or already scheduled. Like having a way to where the whole team can see where a project is or where a deliverable is in your pipeline would help to cut back on duplicate efforts, cost, and time. One of the things that I would say over the years of being in business, and let me just preface it this way. My element, or the reason why I'm speaking of this in terms of broken systems, I've been doing this for like 2 decades, quite literally, both public, private, and consulting. And I've seen from the corporate side, I've seen from the government side, and I've seen in the small business side what broken systems look like. And I will say, do not think that just because it's a Fortune 500 that they got everything together, because I promise you they do not, on some level or in some capacity. So I'm just trying to help you win, right? So if you're in a point or you see it where your team is stumbling or missing dates and deliverables or missing deadlines, then it means that you more than likely have a breakdown in how you're managing things. And you may have to look at what is the best system that works for my team. And it might not be, I would argue to say you do need to resource load at some point. And by resource, I mean people resource, person resource load, whatever your project is. But it may be that how it's being managed needs to be looked at, or who is managing it needs to be looked at, and a system needs to be created around that particular effort or endeavor. So that first one is a lack of team cohesion. That is usually a team type management broken system. The second one is you're scrambling, looking for deliverables or looking for documentation on a client. That means that you don't have a structure in place, whether that is using a filing system, meaning your project has a name and then the client name is underneath that project, or vice versa. You have a client who has multiple projects underneath that folder. You need a way to be able to track and know which projects are in flight, what the status of the project is, and where those deliverables are. So if you are finding yourself searching for receipts or searching for contracts, or you don't have a contract. If you don't have a contract, that's actually really a big thing. I will actually plug an episode where we talk to a lawyer about contracts. But if you don't have that contract and you're looking for the contract and you're like, well, where is it? I don't know. They signed it in, whatever your contracting tool is, but then you're like scrambling trying to find what those deliverables are on those contracts. If you don't have a centralized place for that, then that to me is another shortcoming when it comes to broken systems. So you don't have a true means of organizing how you intake clients, how you process through their projects, and then how you sunset those folders, whether it's via archives or some other mechanism. The third one, hold on, because I'm going to glance down because I actually jotted them down because I didn't want to forget, and I know I would forget. So the third one is if you're receiving the same questions over and over again from your clients. And so things like that is usually a breakdown in some type of how you're communicating out or how you're communicating to your client, whether that's in the onboarding process or the active process of going through the project, or if it's on the roll-off process where you're, closing down the project because you've completed what you needed to do. If you're getting the same questions over and over again, then that means that you are either missing your FAQ, so your frequently asked questions, and that could be on your website. It could mean that you're missing key information in the onboarding or even in the discovery process. So I would say look at how you are bringing on a client or a customer. If your discovery process is, obviously you discovering, asking those type of questions to see if you all are a good fit. If there's something that you're hearing over and over again, it might behoove you to go on social and create a post, or go on your website and make a video, or write it up as copy on a webpage that says, these are some of the frequently asked questions, or here's how you can prepare for a discovery call. I will say, and I know I'm going fast, but I tend to talk fast. So y'all could slow me down if you need to in your own ears or your video, but I want to get this out there. So the other element of when you're going through the process of the discovery call, and I've done this before, I have said, hey, these are some of the things that we're looking to cover on the discovery call. Is there anything that you would like to cover that you might not see in this scope of what we're looking for? And so that gives you the opportunity to prepare for potentially some of the types of things that potential clients may ask. So just keep that in mind. The other component within the customer or client onboarding section is, how are you onboarding? Like, do you actually have, and I'll use me as a real example. When we onboard clients, we go through the deliverables of what we're going to be doing. So that's encapsulated within the contract, the due dates. We give them links to the project plan so that they, if ever they wanted to go see where things were in at any point in time, they're able to click the link and see. And then they have their own client portal where all of this is housed so they can quickly access things at their fingertips. We sometimes have cadences where we need to go back and forth with the client. And so the team looks at the project and is like, okay, well, where does this project sit? Is it with the client? And so we're in a waiting of 3 to 5 days for them to review and get back to us. Or is it in the part where it's back in our court and we now need to take their feedback and incorporate it into said deliverables? Like, if you're able to go through your onboarding and your delivery process or mechanisms and determine, okay, I know that here the client is clear, here in the onboarding the client's clear, here in the project status it starts to get fuzzy, and then here when we're getting to offboard it starts to break down, then that tells you that, okay, up front you're good, but in the middle and towards the end there's things that are missing that you could fill in. So think about how you are engaging and working with your potential clients and your clients. Okay. So that's the other system. And then the final system, because this one is one that I felt like, what do I want to say? I've said it before, but it's like follow up. So how are you following up? Are you so let's say you have this discovery call, right? And maybe it wasn't the best of fit. Are you just letting it go? Like, you have no mechanism to be able to come back and say, whether it's via email or some other modality, to bring them back into your ecosystem. Like, just because it's not a good fit now doesn't mean it might not be a good fit later. And so a way to continue to follow up with your potential clients or even your clients after a project is done, you can do that usually you do it via email, like your email service provider. So that's like your active campaigns and your kits. And I do not recommend MailChimp, but if that's your jam, go for it. And it's in that modality that you want to be able to stay in communication. And that's not just hey, here's what I have to offer, go ahead and sign up. It's more like checking in from time to time, and you can schedule that. So don't think that's not a thing. So look at your follow-up process. How are you following up, both for leads and for actual clients and for, referrals? Because that's a real thing. I've had clients come via referral as well. And it wasn't, for me, I reach out usually directly. So that's not as much automated, especially when I see things that, whether they were past clients or potential clients, I look at, okay, would this be something of interest to them? And I send it to them, and it's a direct email, personalized and actually coming from me. And then my system in the back end takes care of the future follow-up. So, we sent you this event. It's time stamped. I'm not going to get too fancy into my automations, but it's time stamped, and then it comes back and says, okay, are they interested? Yes, no. Do they take action? Do they even open it? So being able to track how your follow-ups are happening will not only help with your recurring revenue if it's potential clients or if it's clients that you've had in the past, but also allow you to not have to always chase so many new clients, right? Sometimes we think that we need, hundreds of clients in order to keep our pipeline full. When in actuality, if you tap the resources or the past clients or the, discovery call potential clients that you've had calls with to see if they're interested in that service or your services or your product, right? So follow up is key. So I've covered those 4 elements. Those are the 4 broken systems that I think would be good to look at in your business, not only to help you grow, but for longevity, for that recurring revenue, because who wants to be chasing clients all the time, right? Or new leads all the time? Like that can get tiring. So look at your systems in your business. Think about how your workflows can be improved. And I'm actually curious, do you have systems like this in your business today? That is something that I want to know in the comments. So leave a comment. Until next time, Bold Move Besties, I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. Bye.